What if every second you waste is being watched? A lazy boy ignores time until time comes for him. Ticking clocks, vanishing teens, and a shadow that whispers only at 3:33 a.m. This is not just a story, it's a warning. Dare to listen till the end, because the next one time chooses could be you. Power of using time wisely. Story of a lazy boy. Inspiring story. Rise and conquer. Horror stories. Ryan was the kind of boy who always said, "I will do it later." Books stayed untouched. Chores were left halfway. Even dreams were delayed. He loved sleep more than sunrise. Loved comfort more than challenge. His room was dark, messy, and smelled of old snacks. The curtains were always shut. The clock ticked louder than usual in that silence. One rainy evening, Ryan sat staring at his screen. Another video. Another hour gone. Thunder growled outside like a warning. The lights flickered. His screen froze. The room felt colder. Not the weather. Something else. He stood up annoyed. Then he heard it. A whisper. Right behind his ear. Time does not wait. Ryan spun around. No one was there. His heart pounded. He could feel the sweat forming on his back. The clock on his wall began ticking faster. 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 Tick. 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 He covered his ears. It did not stop. His reflection in the mirror moved. Before he did, its eyes stared at him. Sharp. Awake. Then it spoke. "You wasted your minutes. Now time wants them back." The room turned darker. The walls seemed to close in. Shadows crawled up the corners. The floor felt unstable. Ryan ran to the door. It was gone. Just a wall. Smooth. Cold. Silent. He screamed. No sound came out. He looked at the mirror again. His reflection was gone. Only the shadow stood there now. It smiled. "Your time is over, Ryan." The clock stopped ticking. The silence was heavy. Suffocating. And then, "Shall I continue?" The shadow stepped out of the mirror. Its form was tall, shapeless, and moved like smoke. It glided toward him, without footsteps, without sound. Ryan backed away, eyes wide, breath shallow. He could feel his chest tightening, like the air itself was turning against him. The room was no longer his. It belonged to time now. A cold wind rushed past his ears, carrying whispers, hundreds of voices, all saying the same thing over and over. Too late. Too late. Too late. His knees buckled, and he dropped to the floor. The shadow hovered over him, its face, or what looked like a face, lowering slowly. Black holes for eyes, and a ticking sound inside its chest. Ryan wanted to scream, but his voice was buried deep in terror. He crawled backward, until he hit the wall that used to be his door. The shadow reached toward him. Its hand was not a hand. It was made of writhing, twisting numbers. Clocks melting. Calendars burning. Pages of life torn out mid-sentence. When it touched his skin, he felt a deep pull, like his soul was being unraveled, thread by thread. Memories flashed before him, not the good ones. Missed chances. Unfinished work. Ignored responsibilities. Broken promises he made to himself. All of them returned. Each one sharp. Each one cutting deeper than the last. His body shook. He gasped for breath. "I will change," he cried. "I will start now." But the shadow whispered, "Now is gone." Suddenly, the clocks on the walls exploded. Time poured out like black sand, filling the room, rising higher, faster, choking him. He tried to stand. The sand pulled him down. He reached out one last time, to the light above, to the hope that maybe, just maybe, but there was no light, only ticking, and darkness. He sank. The room was silent again. The bed sat empty. The screen still frozen. The rain tapping softly on the window. And on the wall, etched deep into the plaster, were words no one remembered writing. But the story does not end here. The next morning, the sun rose as usual. Soft golden light filtered through the clouds. Birds chirped outside. Life went on, unaware of the night before. Ryan's parents knocked on his door. No answer. They knocked again. Still silent. Worried, his mother turned the knob. The door creaked open slowly. His room was cold. Too cold. The curtains fluttered despite the windows being shut. The screen was still frozen on the last video he had been watching. And Rayan was gone. No trace. No footprints. No sign of struggle. Just an eerie stillness. As if time itself had paused in that space. On the wall above his bed, the words they had never seen before were carved deep into the plaster. He had time. He wasted it. His mother screamed. His father stood frozen, staring at the message. The police searched every inch of the house. No forced entry. No evidence. No Rayan. All they found were clocks. Every single one of them. Stopped at 3:33 a.m. Exactly when the storm had hit. The neighbors whispered stories. Some blamed it on spirits. Others called it a curse. But one man, an old watchmaker who lived at the edge of town, said something different. He said, "There are forces older than we understand. Time is one of them. If you waste it long enough, it notices." Days turned into weeks. Rayan's disappearance became a mystery. His room was left untouched, as if they were still waiting for him to return. But no one ever saw him again, except one boy, a classmate, lazy like Rayan once was. He stayed up one night, ignoring homework, scrolling endlessly through his phone. At exactly 3:33 a.m., his screen glitched. The lights flickered, and for a single moment,
He saw Rayan,
not as he remembered.
but pale.
Eyes hollow, trapped behind glass, reaching out, mouth moving, but no sound. Just behind him, a shadow stood.
Ticking.
The boy screamed and dropped the phone. When he picked it up again, everything was normal, or so it seemed. Now he keeps his books close. He sleeps early. He never says, "I will do it later." Because he knows. Time listens. Time watches. And when you waste it, it comes for you. Not with fury, but with silence. And a ticking clock. So, if you're listening to this, and your heart feels heavy, your chest tight, your room too still, look around.
Check the time.
And remember, use your time wisely, or it will use you. Look around. Check the time. And remember, use your time wisely,
Or it will use you.
That message stayed carved into the walls of Rayan's old room. His parents eventually moved out, unable to bear the silence. The house remained empty for years. Dust settled on forgotten furniture. Spiders built quiet webs across the clocks, all still frozen at 3:33 a.m. But the house was not truly empty. Late at night, passers-by reported strange lights, flickers in the windows. Some claimed they heard ticking. Others heard whispers. Faint, urgent, like a warning lost in time. Teenagers dared each other to enter. Most ran away before crossing the porch. But one night, a curious boy named Imran stepped inside. He had heard the stories. He laughed at them, called them bedtime tales for lazy kids. But deep down, he was curious. He pushed open the door. It groaned like a tired voice. Inside, the air was thick, like time had been trapped inside, fermenting. The floor creaked under his feet. Dust danced in the beam of his flashlight. He reached Rayan's room. Nothing had changed. The books were still on the desk. The bed still made. The clock still frozen. 3:33 a.m. Imran chuckled. He took out his phone and began recording. "This is where lazy Rayan vanished, right?" His voice echoed oddly, as if the room disagreed. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind him. He ran to it.
Locked.
His flashlight flickered, then failed. Darkness swallowed everything. In the pitch black, he heard it.
Tick.
A single tick, then another, and another, getting faster and closer. His heart thumped with each sound. His breath caught in his throat. A chill climbed his spine like cold fingers. He turned toward the mirror. At first he saw nothing. Then the fog on the glass cleared. He saw himself, and behind him, a shadow. Same as before.
Tall.
Formless. Eyes like clocks spinning backward. Imran could not move. He could not scream. The shadow leaned close to his ear. You were warned. Suddenly, the clocks in the house started ticking. All at once. All in sync. Ticking faster and faster. Imran's body began to shake. Memories he had ignored came flooding back. The school projects he postponed. The friends he forgot. The time he spent scrolling, watching, waiting for life to begin. He tried to cry out, I will change. I swear I will. But the ticking drowned out his voice. The shadow raised its hand. Everything stopped. Stillness. Then silence. The next morning, the town awoke to news. Another boy was missing. Same house.
Same time.
Same silence. This time, the message on the wall had changed. It now read, Second chance wasted. Time is no longer patient. Authorities sealed the house. But everyone knew it was pointless. Because this was no ordinary place. This was a doorway. A reminder. A punishment. For those who forget what every second truly means. The school principal made an announcement. Classes on time management were added. Phones were banned during lectures. Everyone talked about using time wisely. But the fear never left. Because once, just once, someone heard ticking in the school hallway. At exactly 3:33 p.m., and outside through the window glass, a shadow watched. Still. Waiting. And the moment another lazy soul whispers, I will do it later. It will return. Because time never forgets. And neither does Rayan. Some say his soul is trapped in a loop, reliving the moments he wasted, the seconds he took for granted, the choices he never made. Others believe he became something else entirely. Not a ghost. Not human. But an echo. An extension of time's wrath. A living reminder that time, once disrespected, can become your worst enemy. The school eventually replaced the old clocks. But no matter what they did, one clock in the library always reset itself. To 3:33. Every night, students began to notice. Whenever someone joked about skipping work, ignoring homework, or wasting another day, that clock would start ticking. On its own.
Fast.
Sharp. Louder than anything else in the room. And if they stayed too long, alone, after dark, they would hear whispers. Soft at first, like wind through old paper. Then more urgent. Words forming clearly. You're next. One girl, Zara, laughed at it all. She was bright, but careless. Deadlines were a game to her. Sleep was for the weak. She bragged about how she could cram everything at the last minute. One evening, Zara stayed late in the library. Everyone had left. The lights were dim. The old librarian warned her before locking up. Do not lose track of time, child. It notices. Zara rolled her eyes. She sat down. Headphones on. Music loud. Books spread out. But untouched. She scrolled.
Clicked. Laughed.
Then she looked up. The library clock read 3:32. Her heart skipped. She checked her phone. It said 10:48 p.m. Impossible. She glanced back at the wall. Now it showed 3:33. A second passed. The lights flickered. Her music distorted.
Slowed down.
Then stopped. A chill ran through her body. She stood, looking around. No one. But the air had changed.
Thick.
Heavy. Like walking through water. Then she heard it.
The tick. Clear.
Deliberate. Too close. She turned to leave. The door was gone. In its place, a mirror. One she had never seen before. In it, her reflection stood still. But her real self trembled. She reached out to touch the glass. Her reflection smiled. She did not. And, behind the reflection, another figure stood.
Tall.
Shifting. Its head tilted like it recognized her. Zara backed away. But the reflection stayed. Closer now. Moving without her. It mouthed the words. You had time. The lights died. Darkness swallowed the room. Some say she screamed. Others say the sound never came. The next morning, students found the library locked. The door refused to open. When the janitor forced it, they found Zara's bag on the table, her books untouched, and above the desk, written in the dust of the glass, 3 is not a pattern. It is a warning. No one dared stay late after that. The school closed the library at sunset. Parents pulled their children out of class at the first sign of shadows. And still, the ticking returned. Not just in the school, not just in that house, but in quiet bedrooms, in lonely study corners, in silent regrets. Because time is everywhere. And now, so is Rayan. If you hear ticking in a room with no clock, if you see 3:33 glowing on your screen, if your reflection moves without you,
Run.
but know this. You cannot outrun time, and you definitely cannot hide from what you wasted. Ending, the final warning. Years passed. The town never truly forgot what had happened. The house where Rayan vanished was eventually demolished. A playground was built in its place. Children now laugh where fear once lived. But sometimes the swings move when there is no wind. Sometimes parents swear they hear a faint ticking on the breeze. And at exactly 3:33, every night, a shadow passes across the sandbox. Just for a second, the school replaced its library, added bright lights and new books. But the new clock? It has no hands. It never moves. No one speaks of Rayan now. But his story has become something else. A lesson whispered between friends, shared in late-night conversations, told to those who think they have forever. Because Rayan was not evil. He was not cursed. He was simply too late. He waited too long, ignored too much, laughed at the warnings, and in doing so, became one. So, if you are listening now, feeling that chill, noticing that the ticking in your room suddenly feels louder, take this moment seriously. Close that distraction. Finish that dream. Start now. Because time is always watching, and it never forgets. Your minutes matter. Do not waste them. Because if you do, you might just hear a whisper. One that sounds an awful lot like Rayan's voice. I waited too. The end.